Welcome back into the Sports Source. This segment brought to you by Madisonville Marine. You see their website right there. Well, here's the thing. The boat show is this week, Thursday through Sunday at the Knoxville Convention Center. Madisonville Marine is coming to you. They're going to be in Knoxville. They're going to be bringing all kinds of boats. Also, they're going to have the year's best pricing, rebates, money-back offers, extended warranties. You can even buy now and take delivery when it's warm if you don't want to take delivery now. Madisonville Marine, no better place to buy a boat. And this week, you can not only buy it there, you can buy boats from them right here in Knoxville at the Convention Center. The boat show, Thursday through Sunday. Get out and see their booth. Tell Steve and Joe that I said hello. Good people. All right. Mark and Mike, big week for the Volunteers. First, they've got South Carolina. Tennessee won in Columbia 92-70 without Jordan Bowden, who didn't play in that game. He still won by 22. And then Saturday, 8 o'clock, college game day, Mark, as you predicted last week. Going to be there for if Kentucky takes care of business against LSU and if Tennessee takes care of business with South Carolina. Going to be there for a top 5 matchup between the Vols and Cats. Well, they'll be top 5 anyway. They're not going to change the rankings midseason, but you get the point. Gentlemen, you tell me, first of all, is the biggest worry with South Carolina the possibility of overlooking them?
Yeah, I would say that's the biggest concern. I mean, they've got good players in Silva, but Tennessee's a better ball club, and if they just don't come ready to play, that's the only way that they lose that ball game.
South Carolina is 7-3 in the SEC.
Yeah.
We're getting to the point now where that's not a fluke. They didn't just kind of upset a couple people. They're 7-3. That's good. And Chris Silva pretty much kept them in that game for a long part of that game in Columbia. So he's a guy that can get Kyle Alexander in foul trouble, cause problems that way, for example.
7-3. You know, they had such a bad start to the season. Their pre-conference season was so bad. The fact that they continue to win in the SEC does not help the SEC's case in terms of the net rankings and all those computer rankings. When you go out and lose to bad teams and then you come back into the league and win, that is not a good thing for the league. Let's move on to talk about Kentucky. That's what everybody's focused on. How many times has Tennessee gone to Kentucky and tried to beat a #1 Kentucky team, and now #1 Tennessee goes to Rupp Arena? I'll start just by asking you this. What makes Rupp Arena so tough? Is it just the noise?
The background, it is a bigger arena, so some of the shooting backgrounds. But the reality of playing against Rupp Arena is you're typically playing a darn good basketball team on their home court. But it is some of that surrounding and some of the hoopla going into that ball game that makes it a little bit tougher.
You've covered a lot of those trips for Tennessee and Rupp Arena.
And the Kentucky fans are very loud. They're very involved, and you know, I've read studies that show that gets to officials. It does over the course of a game. Gets to officials that maybe that gets them a call or two.
We did a thing on Mr. SEC many years ago. So this was before the league expanded. But I went back over 5 years and looked at all the foul calls in the SEC over a 5-year period, conference games only. In Rupp Arena, UK didn't get the biggest boost. They were like middle of the league. But when I posted that, everybody said, yeah, but what about the last 2 minutes? So who knows what it's like now. That was a 5-year period. Thoughts on this matchup, though? Let's look at the matchup itself. What concerns you about Kentucky? Who's playing? Remember when they lost to Duke and everybody said, oh, they're going to be terrible this year. Yeah, they're 20-3.
Right.
They're typical Kentucky. What scares you about
Well, other than their typical obnoxious fans, they're not your typical Kentucky.
They would say the same thing.
They're right. They're not your typical Kentucky team of years past. They're a really good defensive team. They've turned into one of the top defensive teams in the country at #7. And then offensively, they've always been these 5-star, drive it, one-on-one type guys. They are really sharing the basketball. And so with that talent, the way that they're playing together, similarly like Tennessee, this is going to be a really tough matchup for the Vols.
I agree. I watched them win in Starkville yesterday. They were defensively just very tough-minded, rebounding in there, mixing it up. Just a very physical, tough team.
If Tennessee can pull this one off, it would have to go down as an all-timer. I mean, anytime, we'll show you a little bit later in the show how often Tennessee's won at Rupp, but anytime you go to Rupp and win, it's something for the history books. But if you can go in there as the #1 team in the country with them breathing down your neck with a really good top 5 basketball team on the court against you, that would have to rank up there as one of the greatest wins, if not the greatest win in Tennessee basketball history. I think it would be that impressive. You may consider it the greatest win in school history if you went up there.
And I think we're going to talk about this a little later. You're looking at seed.
Exactly.
#1 versus #2 seed
down
the road.
All right. A little later, why Duke would be seated ahead of Tennessee right now. We'll discuss that if the tournament were selected today. But next, spots are opening up on UT's football roster. We'll discuss all the moves. Come on back on the Sports Source.